Hello, welcome once again. This is your favorite girl all the way from Liberia. And in this video today, we're going to be talking about some agricultural opportunities in Liberia. Some of the things that have just blown my mind and why we don't have it, and which poses a great opportunity for those who may be considering going into the agricultural realm. If you're new here, my name is Marian Allen. I moved from the US about 2 years ago, transitioned in Ghana, maybe 2.5 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 3. Transitioned in Ghana, and I just transitioned to Liberia. I'm originally from Liberia, and I've been telling you, showcasing my experience, pretty much my journey, and encouraging Liberians, non-Liberians, come to Liberia. We have a lot of great opportunities here that you can tap into and become future millionaires. So let's get into the video. Now when we think about agriculture in Liberia, we think about really big things like rice, because rice is one of the major things that we consume. However, there are so many different things that we need that we would expect to be on our market that we barely can find on our market. And when we do, they're costly. And it just baffles me, especially transitioning in Ghana pretty much I think it's contributing to me thinking, but why can't we have this here in Liberia? If I would have maybe come straight to Liberia, I would have been complacent with what I see. But seeing that is readily available in Ghana and not in Liberia, actually gets me wondering. And a couple of people from Liberia that visited me in Ghana actually recognize that as well and actually mention it. So what are some of those things that I have experienced a lot in Liberia? Liberia is not growing. We do not have a lot of vegetables on the market. So if you want to do agriculture, you don't want to do the big rice farming, there are many things you can do. Vegetables, you sparingly find them. In fact, back then they used to be in the supermarket. That's where you find them. Now you barely can find them in the supermarket. I wish I had taken videos or clips of the produce area in the supermarket and show it to you guys. Is disappointing, is discouraging. The things are either dried out or not very many things are there. And then you would think, okay, maybe it's on the local market, that's why they're not in a supermarket. Then you go into the local market, you barely can find them, and when you find them, they are super expensive. And the thing is, we who are from the West, we've gotten used to incorporating a lot of vegetables in our meals. So it's difficult. Not having access to those things is really hard. And I have some examples of things here when I say vegetables, what I'm referring to. Number one, tomatoes. We do not grow our own tomatoes. Can you imagine that? You barely can find tomatoes on the market. When you find them, they don't even look appetizing to go into salads. They are light yellow. You can find some few red ones. They're more expensive. You can find cherry tomatoes. You find the bigger ones. They're not even like the big fat tomatoes. They're like the Roma tomatoes, the longer looking ones here, and they're not as red as you would want it. So many days I look at it, I'm like, even when I go to vegetable markets, like markets set aside for vegetables, when I go there, I'm like, you have like a little dish pan of them, and that's it. And you want more, but that's just it. You send people to the market and they can barely find you some. When they do, in fact, let's say, for example, you say, buy me 800 Liberty tomato, and the girl will come back with maybe 300 worth, and she'll tell you that that is all she could find. Can you imagine not having access to tomatoes? So then I asked, I went to the vegetable market and I asked the lady, why are we struggling to have, like, why are you guys not having, why don't you have tomatoes here? And she said, oh, lately we've been having issues with them bringing it from Ivory Coast. That was the first time I realized we're not even growing tomatoes here in Liberia. So I was like, what? We get tomatoes from Ivory Coast? And she was like, yeah. And she just comfortably said that, like it was no big deal. And you guys are vegetable sellers. You would think you would grow your own tomatoes and just bring it to the market so your cost can be low, but instead you're waiting for it to come by road from another country, which is gonna take your cost up. And then you are forced now to sell it more expensively, and then consumers don't want to really pay all that much money, so they just eliminate that from their diet or so. And it just didn't make sense. So that's an area. And like many of the other things that I'm gonna list, you can actually grow. You don't have to grow it all the way outside of like Monrovia so that you struggle to bring it to town. There are farmlands that you can get around the vicinity of the central town, and like for example, Wapolu, Bon County, like those counties closer to Monrovia, you can grow things there and transport them to Monrovia quite easily. But that's an area. You guys, come and plant tomatoes. Let's eliminate importation of tomatoes into Liberia. That's one. Number two, pepper. We're still not growing our own pepper. And if we are, we're not growing it at a larger scale to cut off importation from Guinea. In fact, Liberia relies heavily on the importation of pepper from Guinea that we're not even making an effort. And it's easier to bring into the country. So we're not even making an effort, but you can feel it here in Monrovia that pepper is not readily inexpensive or available. You'll see little piles of pepper and they're costly, more than what it should be. So, and pepper is easy to grow. Most of us grew peppers back in the US in our little planters and stuff. And we're able to harvest those things, store it in our freezers, and eat it through the winter. It can be done here. Varieties too. They don't have a lot of variety of peppers here. It's just the regular small pepper with a stem that you pick in. So that's what when they're making stew base, that's all they have to make stew base. They don't have anything to stretch it out, to flavor it, it's just that. And then if you want to, like restaurants and stuff, if you want to do different fancy things with peppers, you don't have a lot of options. So they don't have sweet peppers that you can eat with some dips and stuff and all those different things. While I'm still on the topic of pepper, bell peppers, absolutely zero. I heard that they used to be in the supermarket. The supermarkets don't carry them anymore. And that one, maybe because the consumption is not as high, like people are not very aware of it, what it can do, what can be done with it. So, and it's probably costing those supermarkets a lot of money to bring them in. So maybe they just stopped doing that. But we can grow them right here. And there are lots of things you can do with bell pepper. I love bell peppers. I love the color ones. I love the green ones. I love bell peppers. You can't find them here at all. And I do plan on growing my own. Maybe I might look into growing at a larger scale some of these things, not all. You can't do all of them. Pick one and just focus in that area and be a supplier for that area. Don't try to do everything, which is what a lot of farmers in Liberia do. Because of the need, we try to do everything, and then we can't grow enough of one thing to actually cut us from importing them. So pick one item and grow it. Make sure it's successful and you can be the supplier for that and flood the markets to the point where you can actually export that. They do have bell peppers in Ghana. And Ghana does not even have good soil. Liberia has better soil than Ghana. And if Ghana can grow these things, Liberia can also grow these things. We just need to get on it. In the market, you can find the green bell peppers. So I usually buy them from the market. And then the color bell peppers, I buy them from the supermarket. But they are actually grown in Ghana because the trays that they put them in with the plastic over it, it has stickers of the local farmers. And that's the thing about Ghanaians, they are very good at branding their products. So they don't just sell bell pepper to the supermarket and let the supermarket take control of it. They actually brand the product so that when you're buying it, you know that there's a local farmer here that maybe, yeah, you can source from as well. And I think that's a great idea that we need to incorporate in Liberia as well, so that people are aware that these things are here in Liberia and restaurants can actually go directly there and source. Um, but that was not an issue. They're costly in Ghana because they're not grown, they're not available, they're not surplus, but they're available. And if you're a part of the group that eats it, then you pay a little more for it. But I did not mind paying for it because it's a major part of my diet. Um, but it's not here. Nada. Zero. In fact, when you ask about it, some people are like, what is that? So bell pepper. Onions. We were told that purple onions are the only ones that grow here in Liberia. I highly doubt that. I think the yellow onions grow here as well. But then again, it needs someone to test it out. It needs someone to test it out. You barely can find them on the market. And if you do, they are expensive. And even with the purple onions, I have not seen really big, juicy purple onions. There are tiny little onions. You can't find the big ones. So I want to gather more information on why, maybe test some of them. But these are opportunities for you to come back and initiate or remain on that side, have people test it out for you and stuff like that. Another thing is cabbage. Cabbage is getting popular now in Liberia because a lot of the salad based are used for cabbage. Like when you go buy those roasted fish and stuff, they'll slice up the cabbage, mix it up with some onions and stuff, and put a little mayo on it. So it's major. And because of that, it has driven the cost of cabbage up in Liberia. So if you're trying to just cook a cabbage stew for yourself at your house, it's expensive because of the demand of cabbage. But we're not growing it in a surplus manner, so it's expensive. And most times it's for restaurants and those purposes, like I said. So we need people to grow cabbage. Cabbage is so cheap in Ghana because they grow it there. Like vegetables are heavily grown in Ghana. So the cost of it is pretty low. And like I said, people that visited me, they actually noticed that, like, wow, the market is flooded with vegetables. Yeah. Collard greens. I made some collard greens last Sunday. In fact, when the girl went to the market, she couldn't even find any. They said it only comes on Saturday. So she had to leave money with somebody, say, please save me some when it comes. And then she brought the collard green. So she came to me Saturday morning to drop off the collard green because she picked it up from the market. The leaves were really small. You know how you used to those collard green leaves being so big and wide? No, the leaf was maybe about this length to here, like really short leaves, and not a whole lot. So I was like, this is not a lot. And she's like, that's all they could get. And I'm just curious, like, why? So collard greens is another area. And then, yeah, I talked about bell peppers already. So those are just some vegetables that I have, as a consumer, have recognized a need, a huge one. Come, pick one, test it out, and if it's successful, grow them. If you have a big land that you're not ready to use yet, have them do that, and supply markets, supply supermarkets, supply restaurants. If it is grown here, these supermarkets can buy it and it won't be so costly in the supermarkets as well. And there are other gaps in the supply chain that is needed too with these things. For example, transportation, um, cold rooms to keep the vegetables fresh for a longer period of time, etc. One person can do all of that. Somebody can grow the vegetables. Another person can open the cold rooms. Another person can just invest in transportation to get those things to the market. Lots of things to do in Liberia, my people. So I'm gonna stop the video here because I don't want it to get long. As I discover different things agriculture wise, I'm gonna let you guys know. But these are some of my pain points, and we need to do something about it. We need to do, because I need me my bell peppers and my tomatoes. I need to eat salad and lettuce. I didn't mention that. You barely can find them. When you find them, it's like gold dust. Um, so let's test it out. Let's come visit, test out, bring some seeds from the US. I plan to send for some seeds from the US. Let's test it out. A whole other area I could talk about some fruits as well, but I'm gonna stop it here and I'll do another video with the fruits for us to be able to test out. Okay. Well, thanks for watching. If you watch up to this point, you're interested in Liberia and you want to do something, this is something you can actually initiate while you're away and then come and meet it blooming or thriving for you, and it's creating income for you. So let me know what your thoughts are. Leave comments, like the video, share the video, subscribe so that you don't miss videos. The algorithm is crazy now. If you don't interact with the videos, it's hard for you to see the videos when they come up. There are people that I'm subscribed to. I can't find their videos and I don't remember the channel name. So I'm just waiting for something to pop up so at least I can get reconnected with their channels and stuff. So interact with the video. And thanks for watching. I'll see you around. Bye-bye.